After vanquishing many foes and facing many perils, our heroes, at long last, find themselves within sight of Madison and at the end of their quest. But one last obstacle lies in store.
No, I left it in here somewhere, dude. I don't know what I did with it.
We were 5 minutes away.
Yeah, well, I need my phone, okay? Like, I don't know.
What for?
I have to renew my subscription to Libertarian Girls Monthly. Every month it's a new pretty libertarian girl talking about how much she loves liberty, and I like the articles. You know. But that's alright, we'll figure it out. Phil Anderson!
Guys, where have you been? It's been like 3 months.
Well, you know, there was the whole Moria and the Balrog and then
the Galadriel potato.
Yeah, that was the Helm's Deep. We had
and Golem.
What happened to him?
Where'd he go?
Don't worry about that. I took care of all that.
Took care of it as in gathered the last remnants of the men of Rohan and Gondor, stormed the Black Gate, creating a window of opportunity for someone to take the bill and cast it into the fires of Mount Doom.
I just called up my representative, told him that they shouldn't pass the law, and he listened to me because he respects his constituents, and they didn't pass the law. End of story.
Oh, that was easy.
Oh, wow.
A little bit, but you know, it's cool. I mean, that's how it's supposed to work, I guess.
So, got time for an interview?
Yeah, I got time on the meter.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Tube. My name is Steve.
I'm Chris.
And today we are having an interview with Phil Anderson.
Hello, everyone.
You guys might remember him from months ago, where you were running for Senate.
Yes, sir.
And now what are you doing?
Well, now I'm the chair of the Libertarian Party of Wisconsin, among
Nice.
other things, and I'm also the chair of because I get to choose who's the chair of various committees, I am the chair, personally, of the Candidates and Campaigns Committee of the Libertarian Party of Wisconsin, Georgia. Trying to figure out who is going to run for what next year's election cycle.
Oh, that's super exciting. Do we have a lot of good ideas, or?
Yes, we got people involved, some people that are declared already, some people that are thinking about it, but a good crop of people that want to be involved, so we're very excited about that.
Nice.
And you out there, if you want to run in Wisconsin, get a hold of this guy.
That's right, chair at lpwi.org. If you're a libertarian, we're interested.
Awesome. What if they're a Republican libertarian like some people?
You know what? As the chair of the party, I'm not too big on people as running as Republicans. If they're Republican and want to join the Libertarian Party, that's a different thing. But not too big on the folks running in different parties sort of thing.
Right.
Since we already brought up the Senate campaign, what reflections or what would you say maybe you learned most from your campaign?
Well, it reinforced some things that I already believed, and that is that the two-party system is really set up to exclude other voices. Not only other parties, but even other voices within the Republican and Democrat parties. It's very strict, very buttoned down, you're either on the team or you're excluded from everything, funding elections and everything like that. So that was, reinforced more forcefully. But one of the other things I learned is that there are a lot of people out there who identify and agree with our message, and they sort of fall into the wasted vote syndrome or the disinterested in elections thing, or my vote's not going to make a difference. So I think what we need to continue to do is present candidates that they can get to know and choose to vote for cycle after cycle after cycle. And how we grow our movement and advance liberty for everybody is by running candidates. People seem to get excited about campaigns in a way that they don't about other things.
So our first video question comes from our good friend Lauren, and it is this.
She used to be a Wisconsinite. She's now living in Indiana. So.
She's a Hoosier now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
A Hoosier.
Hoosier.
Whatever that is.
What is a Hoosier?
Do they make hose?
Wouldn't it be a hoser?
That's the Canadian version of a Hoosier.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Phil. I have a question about the proposed legislation that's being pushed by the Tavern Association and distribution lobbyists in Wisconsin that could potentially put craft breweries, wineries, and tap rooms out of business across the state, leaving thousands jobless. If legislation like this were to pass, what kind of a message does that send to entrepreneurs and small business owners in the state of Wisconsin? And on this topic, what is your take on 999 motions that are often snuck into state budgets every year across the country? Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Lauren. To your point, obviously as libertarians, we're definitely against any further encroachment on the rights of entrepreneurs, specifically people that produce, distribute, and sell beer, wine, and spirits. It's interesting, I think, that the three-tiered system in Wisconsin was originally created in order to keep companies from having monopolies. That was the rationalization back then. But it's those same companies that are now trying to get rid of that legislation so they can create a different sort of monopoly. And that is to put, as you mentioned, craft brewers and small producers out of business. It's a travesty, it's a direct attack, and it's so cowardly that it had to be brought up in a 999 motion. And for those who aren't aware, a 999 motion is a way, originally it was set up as a way to make small tweaks to budget bills that didn't need to be, that weren't based on content, just based on adjustments to make the numbers work out correctly. But of course, any time government has a tool like that in their hands, they abuse it. So over the last few budget cycles, it's been used to cram all kinds of stuff into budget bills that wasn't supposed to be there in the first place, that wasn't even passed by the committee in the first place. And not only is it that devious, but even more so that the rules in Wisconsin say that it needs to, a 999 motion needs to be proposed by 2 legislators, but they need not be named. So, in the case of this potential legislation, nobody was brave enough, because they know it's terrible and very unpopular to try to put craft breweries out of business. It was introduced as a 999 motion, and once it was discovered that, then there was intense pressure to figure out which legislators proposed it, and it's still unknown as to this point who proposed it. But the good news is that as of right now, the chair of that committee in the State Assembly has said that there's not going to be a motion attached. So we still have to watch very carefully, because it could be put in, but it looks like right now that issue's dead. That being said, the Libertarian Party of Dane County has taken direct action and is sponsoring an event called Beerocracy on July 29th in Madison, where it's going to be supported by craft brewers. We're going to have a speaker from the Craft Brewers Association, from Americans for Prosperity. We're going to have live music to bring more attention to this particular situation, so that it doesn't happen again. And the particular legislator, Alberta Darling, who was responsible for using the 999 motion, a Republican, using the 999 motion in previous cycles, has now said it's a bad thing. So I think there's been enough light shed on it by us and others that it should be something that's a thing of the past, hopefully. But pretty much a guarantee that wherever there's power, wherever the government has power, they'll find ways to abuse it at the behest of those moneyed interests who they actually represent.
Where, as the chairman of the Wisconsin Libertarian Party, where do you see the party in Wisconsin going in the next few years?
We are very ambitious right now. We had a big swell in membership over this last year, and an excellent convention. Nick Sarwark, who is the chair of the Libertarian National Committee, spoke, as well as Professor Joseph Daniels, who is the chair of the Economics Department at Marquette University, and Glenn Klein, who's a well-known radio personality and life coach, among other things. It went very, very well. We have excellent people that are involved in the leadership positions in the state party, and we've set some goals. Our goal is by the end of 2017 to double membership to 500. Our goal is to raise $15,000 new revenue through those memberships and other initiatives by the end of 2017. And our goal is to have at least 30 candidates on the ballot at state assembly level or above in the 2018 election cycle. And all these things are achievable because I think we have the right people in place. It's not a question of if, it's a question of how we're going to do it. We're very optimistic. We've got some very capable, professional, motivated, liberty-loving people in place that are heading up all these various efforts, and so we really expect a huge uptick in activity and hopefully moving the needle more towards liberty in Wisconsin by our activities. Raising money, increasing membership, raising awareness, the things that good organizations do. We have to become not like other organizations, but use the things that we know are good practices in other organizations in terms of leadership, management, those sorts of things.
Yeah, just a tad more professionalism, says
Exactly.
the guy in the jingly hat.
That's a very professional jingly hat.
Yeah, I buffed it, can you tell?
Yeah, it's blinding me almost.
What would you say is the single biggest liberty issue facing Wisconsin right now? You can edit, take your time to think.
I would say the biggest, there's so many. I think the biggest one is taxation. You know, both parties, not only in Wisconsin but across the country, put forth these statistics that say, you know, they always want to make their program seem better, or make their opponents seem worse. But when it comes down to it, Wisconsinites are very heavily taxed in a variety of different ways. And as we all know, taxation is theft. And so the government takes our money, takes the money from wealth-producing people, skims it every way, shape, and form possible. Income tax, property tax, sales tax, user fees that are inflated, licensing fees, any way they can tax, they do. They take that money and they use it for things that taxpayers didn't intend, even if there was consent involved in the taxation scheme, which generally there isn't. They use it for all kinds of different things that are basically padding their donor base. So they're building roads that might not be necessary, they're awarding capital to cronies through the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. All these different ways that they spread money around to keep people happy and to keep them voting for them, they do. And you know, taxation is more than about money. When we work, it's part of who we are. It's our labor. It's what we do. And when you take part of that, it's basically a form of slavery. I mean, the question gets asked occasionally, you know, if it's okay, if it's slavery to take 100% of somebody's income and make them work for nothing, isn't it some form of slavery to take 20% or 30% or 40%? And I think that's true.
Yep.
There are other issues as well. You know, marijuana legalization, which should have been done already. The majority of citizens in Wisconsin want that. There's issues about property rights. The state regularly trounces on the property rights of individuals in favor of their corporate cronies. But I think taxation is one that gets at the root of exactly what the difference is between people wanting to live freely and understanding of what who a human being is and what belongs to them, what's proper to them, and what the government forcibly takes away on a regular basis.
So I think that begs the question. I don't think we covered it in the last interview, but if you were going to describe what kind of libertarian you are,
I'm an anarchist.
a full-on anarchist?
Pretty much. And although I ran for office, and I may run for office again at some point, I think that's the end goal, is that we should abolish the state, that there's no need for a government force, that it's immoral, and that people, I believe in people. I don't believe in government because I believe in people's ability and their right to order their lives as they choose, and for them to find solutions to conflicts that arise when people encroach on other people's rights. These are all things that we do every day in the marketplace, in neighborhoods, and families. There's no need for a coercive, majority-ruled state to do anything for us, I don't think. That being said, I wouldn't run on that platform. You know, there's ways that we get to that. There's ways that we work towards that, so that we can bring people on board with our ideas and give them an opportunity to learn without driving them away with seemingly radical, irresponsible ideas. But in the end, you know, people have the right to live their lives as they choose, as long as they don't interfere with other people's right to do the same thing. And if you apply that to society, there's no room for government in that formulation. There's no room at all for that.
That leads really well into our next video question.
Excellent.
And this
I
one,
wonder who that's from. Who's it from?
yeah, I can't imagine who it would possibly be from.
I don't know. It's
Could it be Jessica?
no.
No.
Hey Phil, my question is, do you think that we will ever be united enough as a nation to be represented by the same federal government? Now, I believe in minimal federal law and state laws, but I don't see how that's in the plan for either Democrats or Republicans, and I don't see them changing anytime soon. I was wondering if you had a different opinion on that. Maybe if you think that something big is going to happen, or do you think that a lot of states are likely to secede? That's my question. Let me know.
So thanks for the question, Jessica. I got a two-part answer. First of all, I'm very optimistic about human beings and our ability and capacity to solve our problems, working things out between us in peaceful ways that are mutually agreeable by consent, outside of government coercion. I think that's the sort of activity that happens every day among families, neighborhoods, companies, whatever. I mean, this is something that doesn't have a champion. It doesn't have a lobbyist, but it's really how people interact with each other naturally and as we are. And so I have great faith in that, but I'm also, part two, very pessimistic about any possibility that our current federal government, or anything even close to its scale, run by Republicans, Democrats, even by some of my fellow libertarians, any other party, is anywhere capable of reducing its size, of allowing us to live peacefully with each other, and even to your point of states seceding. I mean, that, one of the big storylines of the Civil War was that Lincoln was really fighting for the Union to not break up, to not let anyone secede from the Union. It was about slavery too, but that ship has sailed a long time ago. So I think there's very little chance that the federal government would allow even a net loss like California is with taxpayer funds, or even any other state. Illinois, for example. Thanks for bringing that up. Illinois, a state that's basically bankrupt. If they wanted to secede, which would be a net benefit to the rest of the country, aside from the fact that that's a Wisconsin point of view.
Right.
Even somebody in wherever.
They could be 1/3 of the federal budget and secede, and I'd be happy.
Yes, but the fact that they're just a money pit and a corruption pit, they still won't be allowed to secede, because that would start a tidal wave of change. The federal government exists by gathering power and selling it. So the federal government has a Department of Education, not to help kids get educated, but so they have something to sell to lobbyists and corporations and industries. They gather power. So to give any of that away at any point would basically mean a breakdown of our whole federal system, which leads to one of your other questions, and that is, does there something big need to happen? Probably so. I don't know what, if it's something that needs to happen where somebody's doing it. Like, I'm not advocating some sort of revolutionary activity, but that could happen. Or it could be just the collapse of the dollar or something like that caused chaos across the United States and across the world, that would make the government sort of disintegrate, and we'd be trying to find another way to organize ourselves, I guess, after that. That's probably what needs to happen for there to be true, peaceful liberty among people in our lifetime. And I'm not looking forward to that, but I've just seen so much. I mean, the previous question about what I learned in running for United States Senate is testament to that, and they pretty much got it locked up. Republicans and Democrats physically locked up. So.
All right, everyone, real quick, we're going to do a speed round. We're just going to rapid fire questions. He's got no time to answer. It's just gut answers.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
All right.
Bring it on.
All right. So.
Yes.
I'll start.
That's a question. Okay.
Oh.
No. I'm going faster than you.
Yeah,
Come on, fire.
I can't keep up. Come on.
Fast,
Jesus.
man.
Republican or Democrat?
Oh, that's not a yes or no.
Well, it doesn't have to be yes or no.
Neither.
That works.
All right. American or cheddar?
Cheddar.
Marvel, DC.
DC.
Betty or Wilma?
Betty.
Facebook or YouTube?
Facebook.
Stooges or Marx Brothers?
Stooges.
All right. I don't have any more. You have any more?
Ramones or Sex Pistols?
Ooh, I don't know. Clash.
Oh.
Okay. Ginger or Marianne?
Genie.
Ooh.
I saw that in a commercial once.
Oh, nice.
But I agree with it.
Right, well, yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, me too. Okay. And lastly, but not leastly, French fries or onion rings?
Oh, man. Well, not French fries. Well, onion rings, but even that's not, you know.
Really? No fried foods, or?
French fries are too starchy. Unless they're the really thin steak and shake ones and really crispy, I like those.
So you're saying
Most French fries are
He
bunk.
just said potatoes are too starchy. What are you going to do, Chris? What are you going to do? Did
Sure.
your little heart get broken?
How about jalapeno poppers? No?
Yeah.
How about, I don't know. I'll go with onion rings. If you're going to pin me down.
Well, how about like a Snickers bar, like breaded and then deep fried,
That sounds good.
right? I love the fact they can deep fry anything.
Anything at all.
They're like bubble gum, deep fried.
Exactly. And they sell it at fairs, right? So you go to the county fair, the state fair, and it's just, you know, you're lucky you make it out of there without having to use the porta-john.
Right.
You know.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks a lot, Phil, for coming here and
Thanks for having me, guys.
doing
I
this
love it.
interview.
Anytime.
This was amazing. I guess everyone have a nice night.
See ya.
We sing along with the dog?
Taxation is there. Well, that's what. Yeah. Oh, you speak dog too, huh?
I do. I can hear what she's saying.
Yeah. It's a he.
Well, sorry. I can hear what he's saying.
United as a nation enough to Can you not? Is there why?